up, reports from social media, and it suggests that from where you're reporting from, that is Tel Aviv, you have Jerusalem approximately 70 kilometers away from Tel Aviv, and Haifa about 90 or 100 kilometers away. Both these targets, both these places have been hit by the barrage of Iranian missiles. Haifa, Colonel RSN, is obviously strategically important. You have the major naval base there. You also have the oil refinery, I think, of the Bazan group, if I'm not wrong. You have chemical industrial plants there. And also, the dense population of the Jewish and Arabs there. And not to forget the symbolic value of Haifa that, stands as a testament of Israel's industrial and multicultural identity. Colonel RSN.
Yes, Pranesh, in the earlier engagements, Iran scrupulously avoided these kind of, installations, high value targets. But this time it has been no holds barred. And Haifa is somewhere where Mr. Adani also has invested very heavily. So have the Chinese in that area. I don't know what happens to the Chinese increasing footprints in the region after this. That's a big question. And since you are talking about oil refinery and energy, one of the consequences of this conflict will be this energy supply reconfiguration in the entire world at the global level. That is going to happen. And having said that, let me also tell you that Pranesh, it would not have been so easy, or the outcome would have been difficult to achieve had Russia not been engaged in the war with Ukraine. So the biggest setback, remember, in P flight +1, Russia and China, both were members. What happens to them? Their stature has been, the Chinese stature at least, has been totally diminished. And then, of course, it will have an impact on a greater focus on, Indo-Pacific strategy. And do we move from here on to the Arctic? Because that is the next, area of strategic and geopolitical rivalry, and that is why Trump has been making noises about Greenland.
Right.
And Pranesh, I have always maintained this, that he is not as foolish as made out to be. Remember, he has gone very systematically.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. A lot of updates coming in thick and fast. On the right-hand side of the screen, viewers, are the first pictures of what it looks like the strike by Iran. These are strikes in two cities, two places, Jerusalem and Haifa. Colonel RSN was telling us about the strategic importance of Haifa. But Mr. Kalamal, this is only going to escalate, logically I'm saying, I don't know what is the, the potential left of the Iranian military after the US strikes or the impending or the long, 9 days of war with Israel. But whatever they have, they will throw it in, because this is about their, so-called survival, prestige.
Yeah, and it shows you the calculus of comedy. He's not going to give up. He's going to end up like Hitler in the bunker. It seems like the outcome here. He's always had a maximalist approach. The regime's had a maximalist approach, and that's kind of the way he's approaching this. He's going to throw everything he's got as long as he has it. There's talk about negotiations, but I've never been, I've never been optimistic about that, because they've been great at making tactical retreats for a long time for a strategic goal of obtaining a nuclear weapon. Well, they can no longer make those tactical retreats, and the strategic goal is basically, it's up in smoke before their eyes. So where do they go from here? Do they save the regime? Do they keep this on? What happens with the proxies? Do the proxies in Iraq say, you know what? I'm not going to throw my lot in right here. We're going to carve out a little fiefdom here. What does Hezbollah do? Do they decide to stand down and say, we're going to continue to, make income through other illicit means and trying to hold on to what we have? So Khamenei's seeing everything stripped away before him, but he is defiant, and that's the way he always has been, and that's the way
Talking about the proxies, is it the Hezbollah that it was a few months ago? I don't know. But Colonel RSN, when Iran launches military strike or missile strike, in this case on Haifa, it clearly signals defiance, and it is also testing Israel's air defenses.
No, I think that phase is over of testing air defenses. It was long over. Now these are some acts of desperation. What should I say? I mean, if they had any wisdom, they would have realized that the game is over. Why I'm saying that the game is over? I mean, their only hope was if somebody was to, come to their aid. The Russians are not in a position to do so, and the Chinese are not. So this is a desperate act, and revolutionary regimes, have a very constricted worldview, and that is why I am always very, very skeptic about this term called, revolution. I have, like you, I have also been a student of history. I don't know whether a revolution ushers in any change like the Iranian revolution does, and at whose cost it comes, whether it was, revolution by Mao Zedong, whether it was, by, in this instant case, or whether, say, in Bangladesh, they are also calling it revolution. So revolutions have a very limited, lifespan. I think we as a country in this regard are better off, much better off. And this is really a moment of pride, for all of us.
Because you're calling it desperation, I understand where you're coming from, but how do you see this ending? Because Netanyahu was clear even 5 days ago. He said, kill Khamenei, that's the end of the war. How will this end?
This will end with regime change, and in 48 hours or see, who knows that he may have already been killed? Who knows? Because just he has named his, there was news pouring in that, he has named 3 successors, and so as it is, he's an 86-year-old man. I don't know how much of, physical ability or cognitive ability he is left with, because all those visuals that come to you, they're old visuals.
Right.
Okay, but so succession plans have been put in place already by Iran. What is going to happen to that? Just a moment, interrupting you there for breaking updates coming in. The first statement has come in from the UN nuke watchdog after the United States strikes Iran's 3 nuclear sites. The IAEA has said that there is no increase in the radiation levels. The International Atomic Energy Agency has said that following the attacks on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, the IAEA can confirm that no increase in off-site radiation levels has been reported as of this time. It will provide further assessment on the situation in Iran as more information becomes available. So there were concerns around the nuke leaks. Now confirmation coming in from the International Atomic Energy that as of now, after the attack on the 3 nuclear sites, there is no increase in the off-site radiation levels. Priyank is back with us. Priyank, get us the update of what's happening on the ground. Are you hearing sirens blaring even now?
No, but the sirens have stopped. People have come out from these bunkers, but you are right. This was one of the major concerns because 3 of the nuclear sites being hit by the U.S. forces is certainly something which could have triggered leakage in the radiation. That is a very worrying thing for the rest of the world. We know that these atomic sites have been made in the extreme and the outskirts of Iran. We know Iran is a big country. It's not like Israel that you have to compromise with the land and space. So they have built up this area called Forda, which is in the outskirts in the mountain. Now coming back to what you were asking, the IDF has also released a statement where they have been saying that there have been barrage of missiles which enter towards Israel, and many of them have been hit back by the Israeli Defense Forces. Just a short while back, we could see that surveillance aircraft which were there in the sky here in Tel Aviv, which is trying to assess the ground situation, that how many areas have been hit so far. The aircraft have been hovering here, so we are expecting that there could be some of the locations which have been hit here also. We'll try to reach out to that location. But what Pradesh was also quoting from the social media platform, which is showing the image of what is exactly happening in the rest of the cities. Jerusalem and Haifa have always been on the top target for the Iranians. But we have to understand that it's not easy for Iran also to send these missiles, because these missiles have to travel for more than 2,000 kilometers. It's a big distance. And when the missiles are actually about to land, the GPS coordinates are different. For the viewers, if I am sending my live location, if I'm sending location from here through the GPS, it will be showing right there. So the government installations have been saved so far at multiple locations. Yes, we know in Haifa, there was one of the Israelis government installation which was hit by the missile. But in most of the time, the GPS coordinates are being used by the Israelis to, create a spread of information so that the missiles can get disguised. One of the instances, I could see that one of the missiles landed right there in the sea, because I'm standing on the sea coast, and that is what is the latest strategy which is being used by the Israelis. We know that Iron Domes could not protect from these ballistic missiles. We know that THAAD, which is the US-based defense system, air defense system, is also not too much at par to stop all these ballistic missiles which has been coming from the Iranian side. So whatever way is there with the Israelis, they have been using it. They have been trying to protect the people, and that is why probably, Pratibha, this image is still there. The kind of visuals which we saw few minutes back is still the same, which is a big example of what we can show visually from here.
So a wave of missiles have been launched by Iran on Israel. Jerusalem and Haifa have been targeted by Iran. Sirens are blaring in northern Israel, as Priyank is also getting us that update. A second wave of Iranian missiles are also targeting Israel. That's a breaking update coming in. So waves of missiles continue to target Israel. Mr. Kalaman, the Iranian attack on Israel was perhaps even expected, but Iran has also said that it will also be hitting the US military bases in and around the Middle East. History has been testament that any time, especially the US bases being hit, it is going to be a full-scale war from the United States. Do you see Iran taking that risk or that consequence after the strikes by United States?
Great question. They absolutely could take that risk. That would be a grave miscalculation by Khamenei. I don't think it will lead to what you would call a full-scale war, because what you're not going to find are American boots on the ground. You're going to see this from the air. And vis-a-vis the Islamic Republic right now, they don't have the air defense systems. They don't. Israel owns the skies. So this would be another calamitous mistake by Khamenei if he decides to attack American interests. This was a solid knock in the nose. Knock in the face. And he understands force. This is what Khamenei understands. Whether he got the message this time around, we'll see. But he'll continue to lob missiles at Israel. Israel continuing to degrade him. The question is whether he'll, cross the Rubicon here and start targeting the United States, because that'll just lead to complete and. There's no deal. There's no chance. The regime is absolutely gone.
Mr. Kalaman, we have an update here coming in. Pratibha, this is just come in. Iran state media is suggesting that they've executed a man accused of spying for Mossad. Iran executed a man accused of spying for Israeli intelligence agency. Majid Mosayebi was hanged earlier in the day after Iran Supreme Council or the Supreme Court there upheld his death sentence. This is just coming in now. We don't know what's the truth about this. Could also be, posturing, a lot of psyops which is going on. But Arsen, at 5:30 India time, in about a few hours from now, there'll be a Pentagon briefing. What could this be? Will this be the platform where the US will announce the impact of the strikes? They'll use the time to assess the damage and tell the world that, look, we've, been able to do this.
They'll tell the world that Iran was on the verge of making a nuclear bomb, and which was a threat to this humanity, and the Iranians have been striking, hospitals and critical infrastructure like Haifa, and negotiations failed. Though they labored very hard, through the diplomatic channels, but the regime was, intransigent, and so therefore they have to be, they had to be rendered bereft of the nuclear weapon, and that was going out of hand, and so they had to intervene. And because Trump had already said that, they have the means to do it, and so they have utilized those means. So basically, it will be catering to the humanitarian causes and humanitarian aspects of this whole engagement, and they will obviously they will justify themselves, that they have done it in favor of the people of Iran, which is fed up of the regime, etc., etc.
Right. So I think leader of the free world, etc., etc. That the narrative that the US presents every time it resorts to actions like this. But the mask is off, and nothing is off the table, Mr. Calamel. Everything that the Iranians can do, they will do it to send a message. If they have that potential left, one doesn't know. Let's see how this unfolds. You're watching the most exhaustive coverage of the war in which the United States of America has now entered by striking 3 nuclear sites. Stay with Times now. We're taking a short break. Lots more lined up on the other side.